Hello ladies and gentlemen, Willie here. On the 18th of June, Blizzard has temporarily suspended or banned 74,000 accounts across Americas, Oceania and European regions. The majority of that number were for cheating, using unauthorized software to gain advantages in-game, or as we like to simply call it, botting. I know I'm a bit late to the party here. I was going to make a video the day it happened because I was so excited, but wanted to put out my last video about the recent blue post before this. Also, it made sense to wait a few days so I can see what effects the ban wave actually has on the market and bots in instances. Other than that, I'd just like to start this off by saying this because I would really like to be able to do this kind of thing more often. Amazing, fantastic, brilliant, super, good job, Blizzard. Well done, not only in the bans, but the choice to communicate with us that you've done so. Let's give it a quick read through the post now, and I'll just talk about the important bits here. We rarely communicate publicly about this because we found that describing our sources and methods can make it easier for malicious actors to work around them, but we feel that it's worthwhile to expand on the subject today as many players have recently asked us for a bit more detail. I agree on this. I don't think anyone's expecting anything too granular when it comes to what kind of actions you are hiding. All the same though, there's no harm in making a ban wave a big public deal. We have to prove to ourselves that the accused player is not a person who's actually controlling a character with their hands on the keyboard. I can see this being hard to, since there will be many people across various regions who, despite are playing the game as a job to sell gold, it's technically still a person, or that the person running the bot farm keeps a close tab on the operation to try and avoid possible suspicion. We've also seen examples where the reported player was caught exploiting the game and was removed from the game and then quickly returned to doing the same thing on a new account with the same character name. This is quite interesting actually. I don't think this has ever been brought up by the community. To be honest though, the bot names appear, for the majority at least, just to be randomly generated names. I don't see how the same name would be chosen consistently, but I can see where this is coming from. Real money trading drives third parties to put an enormous amount of effort into circumventing our detection systems. As much as this is a very high priority for us, it is the only priority for profit-driven botting organizations. The bans that we issue are simply a cost of doing business for them. I mean, sure, it's their only motive, but Blizzard is one of the largest game developers in the world. I've said it before, I'm pretty sure you could buy them out to work for you if you really wanted to. All in all though, let's not make little of this and just move on to the next issue. Credit where credit is due. Many people ask for this kind of thing to happen, especially me, and Blizzard has made it happen and communicated about it. Right, you don't ask for a car on your birthday and then moan when it's not as expensive as you wanted. It's a result that was pushed for. Here are the results. Once again, good job Blizzard on this step, and what have you done here? So following all of that uncharacteristic praise from me, how effective does the ban wave appear to have been? First of all, the term ban wave, I'd like to talk about it in a bit more detail as it's thrown around all the time, but I don't feel like there's ever been a why is it done this way and what does it hope to achieve, because ban waves are the bot busting meta for a very good set of reasons. Say you are a naughty botter who's developing a naughty script to do naughty things in-game. You fire up your first iteration of your bot, get it in-game on 5 different accounts. By the end of the day, 2 of those accounts are banned, so you take down the other 3 as well. You can now look through your personal logs and work out at what point they were banned and identify what trigger caused the ban to happen. You implement what you believe to be the fix, and on top of this you still have 3 other accounts left that you were testing who had not been effective, then put them back in game the next day, repeat and repeat until they're not being detected. You have a system here where the in-game detection is sort of working in your favor as it instantly exposes weaknesses in your scripting. Not only does this let you make a better bot, but it gives you info on how Blizzard goes about fighting the bots. If bans are done in waves every so often, thousands of accounts suddenly are all taken down at the same time. Accounts that are all of different ages, performing different actions, and all at different times of the day. It makes it very difficult to say exactly why they were banned, ergo making it much harder to know how to improve your bot. However, when a ban wave happens, it's vital at this point that Blizzard's anti-cheat and detection systems are also updated to combat trends in accounts that they have taken down, or people are just going to run it back with the same type of software again and again. Furthermore, it's important that ban waves reflect the real-world profitability of the game in question. This one is different from game to game, depending on how valuable the in-game resources are, and Classic is a bit strange in this regard because unlike retail, you don't need the base game or the expansion to play it at all, so you need to invest far less into getting your bot network set up. This combined with gold being far more important on Classic than Retail, and you have a combo where it's always in high demand. How often ban waves come also need to take this into account, because I have a pretty strong feeling that the setup costs per bot are far lower than the amount they generate over time at the moment. As for what the correct frequency of the ban waves is for Classic, it's hard to say, but I think it's safe to say they're making a whole lot more than they're losing, that's for sure. Let's have a look now at what we can see in dungeons. It used to be all day, every day there were groups running strat. Here I'm checking a few servers to see what I can find a few days in a row since the changes were made. Keep in mind some of these servers are locked, so unless some accounts slip through the net, nothing new can be currently created there. We can certainly see a few accounts here which are a bit on the suspect side. I mean, it's kind of funny if you see a druid priest and 3 mages in strat and guild endow that everybody just assumes that they're botters, and 9.99 times out of 10 I'd be willing to bet that they actually are. How long until botters start making token guilds to throw people off, I wonder? Yeah, it probably wouldn't make any difference. So there are still bots there for sure, but it's certainly less than it was in the past. That's pretty much what we can expect, and that's a good thing. I'd just like to say, as far as I'm aware, however, the run bots do in strat is about 1 hour and they half afterwards, so the new instant cap isn't really going to affect them, but we'll see what happens there. So if bans have indeed been coming in waves, and we know about a pretty huge one recently, the auction house should reflect this in the volumes of items that are being posted, having periods of dropping off and then gradually rising back up. This info is from the website Nexus Hub, and the data is gained from the TSM add-on that uses the auction house. So whilst it won't show us everything, it gives us a pretty good picture. Let's have a look at some of the more popularly botted items. Golden pearls, not too much change overall here in the long term. I can tell you they went up considerably on my server, but are now going back down again. More interestingly, the quantity supplied doesn't really seem to have overly had a large change over time. Righteous orbs, these are what them bots are farming in strat all day every day. Well, this looks a bit more like what I expected to see. A sudden massive drop off in supply and the price spiking up. Once again, this 90-day view doesn't reflect there having been frequent ban waves at all. This really seems like the first big one they have done looking at this. The supply has just been non-stop rising daily looking at the trends now until recently. Major mana potions, these are from the tribute chest at the end of Dire Maul. Just like orbs, this is what I expected to see, a sudden and huge drop off. Interestingly, in the NA region there seems to have been a separate ban wave done earlier on. However, you can clearly see how fast botters were able to recover from this, even getting towards the volumes they were at mere weeks beforehand. Hopefully this doesn't repeat itself. Major healing potions, same story as mana really. These are also from tribute runs. Looks like a pretty good time to get back to farming tribute as a hunter perhaps. So we can definitely see some evidence that the bot numbers have been pretty heavily cut back. What we'll have to see in the coming weeks is exactly how well they can recover. That is, if the reduced numbers on the auction house and inside various dungeons are anything to go by. Locked servers are going to go a long way to stop the repopulation happening anytime soon, as those are the servers with the highest demand for items and gold, since they have the largest player bases. For the unlocked servers though, I'd expect to get hit pretty hard by the next wave of bots. Also, looking at the items in Nexus Hub for example, especially major mana potions or righteous orbs, this looks like the first time in many cases where the supply has actually gone down. There should have been several drop-offs where accounts were banned, who then reformed and went again, but this is the first real considerable drop-off we can see in the past 90 days. This is what should be expected given the nature of ban waves, but it's not what we're seeing, at least from the data that we have available to us. We know that this ban wave was about 1 month of account as per Blizzard's wording, so if that's anything to go by, then that's a pretty huge number of accounts, but is it frequent enough of an action to bring long-term success and ending how rampant botting has become? It doesn't appear that way so far. Also, you'll have to let me know if you've seen any of this, but I'm hoping Blizzard have at least updated their anti-cheat to stop flying and no-clipping with this ban wave. I mean, there is detection for automation in game, and then there's a player moving at speeds or being at coordinates in game where they should not be able to reach. They aren't quite the same thing. This is an area where I'd like to see more strong action. In any event, this is a good step in what Blizzard has done here, both with the bans and their recent communications on it. I have to say I'm happy that this has been done, and that we'll have to see how botters recover and how fast. Looking forwards to more future communications from Blizzard as for ban waves, and the fact they're actually acknowledging it now and staying on top of it. So please let me know what you're seeing in game at the moment in terms of possible botting on locked and non-locked servers, and whether you still think the flying and no clipping is possible, perhaps along with any other cheats that are frequently employed as well that we just don't see so often. I think we've managed to push for this action to happen. Let's take this as a good thing, but keep an open mind for what comes next. I do hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in the next one very soon. If you like what you see, give the video a like and subscribe, as there'll be plenty more to come. Take care guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.